Please welcome to the stage director Isher Sahota and producer Jon Tarcy.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you for being here with us.
Thank you for
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you for being such a wonderful audience. Thank you.
Yes, it was really great to be able to see this on the big screen. I saw it on my laptop at home, but there's something about the cinematography that really deserves a screen like this.
Yeah, no, it stood up really well. I thought it looked really good. Yeah.
I'd love to ask you some questions about the film and how you came to it, but I'd just like to start by asking how has the reactions been in your run so far?
Well, yeah, really good. We've been lucky enough to play at London Indian Film Festival, so we were at the BFI NFT1, which was great. We had our international premiere last week at Galway Film Festival in Ireland, and this is our North American premiere. I think that it's a hard one to gauge because it's we asked the audience to go on quite a journey with us. You know, it's kind of this tonal flitting between kind of comedy and drama. But I think that yeah, we was really interested to see. It's quite a British sense of humour. It's quite dry in a lot of ways, but hopefully it's universal and entertaining as well. And you know, it was nice to hear the audience reactions and the gasps with the twists and turns and everything. So yeah, no, it's been really good.
I was going to say we've obviously been kind of enjoying it and laughing along to it when we were editing it and watching it, but seeing it in I guess London and then Ireland and then here in the US and listening at the different points that people are finding funny, etc. Yeah, it's been really good to see it on the big screen with an audience.
Yeah, I love seeing dry, stoic British acting while all the chaos is happening around them. I guess I'd like to know a little bit about the script writing process.
Yeah.
How did it come about? I saw that there was a writer that you worked with. So yeah.
Yeah, so I direct television in the UK. So I was doing a show for the BBC, and James was the writer who's there. Was editing that TV show, and he told me he writes. So we started swapping scripts, and he gave me this script, and I was thrilled reading it because, one, I found it very entertaining and moving, but also it was thrilling to read a story about a South Asian family that had not much to do with them being South Asian. It was just a universal story of love and loss and family, and a universal one, which was quite a rarity and something that I wish I had growing up. So I thought, yes, we have to make this, and got Jon involved, and we went ahead and made it in a very kind of independent way. We kind of empowered ourselves and went out there and did it.
Yeah. Well, no, I was going to say, yeah, we kind of, obviously you showed me the script and we basically decided that we would make it happen, whatever the circumstances. So yeah, we kind of obviously raised the money ourselves, and then we shot it across 12 days in London. So we only had a very short time to shoot this, but hopefully it translates well from what we have in there.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, and going on to also the thing I really connected to in the script, in James's script, was the character of Naveen, this idea of this guy who's suppressing all these emotions and these things for decades because he thinks it's the right thing to do with for his family, and this kind of journey, with all these revelations that happen on this day, and this journey to kind of living a more authentic life. I thought that was something that really struck me as very beautiful and kind of universal.
Oh, that's really interesting. So the writer had written the script to be South Asian.
Yes, and he's James. He's a white man from the Midlands of England, but he's married to a Punjabi woman. So he kind of had an amazing kind of insight into the community. And what I love about the kind of script is that the South Asianness is there, the Punjabiness is there, but it's kind of it informs the characters without kind of driving the story. For example, Sangeeta's character, it was so refreshing to read a character, a South Asian woman of appetites. She drinks and smokes and enjoys sex, and that was, and Layla Ruas came on board and played her so brilliantly. But so James had a great kind of insight into, and that informs her character, and that informs her kind of lashing out against kind of familial expectation and societal kind of expectation. So it's there, but it's not the driver of the story, as it were. So yeah.
Before my next question, we're going around for audience questions. So if you have one, just let them know, and then you can write it down, and we'll ask them afterwards. So yeah, I would love to hear about the casting process. And how did you know any of the actors before? Did you have them in mind during the script process? And yeah, how did you bring them together?
Well, I think one thing that was really important to us was to create an ensemble, and this to be an ensemble piece. So we work with a casting director in the UK called Claudia Blunt, who's cast a lot of indie features and TV shows, etc. And so, we went to start with, working on it with her, and we approached Ace Batty to play Naveen, and thankfully he said yes, and then we kind of pieced the cast around that. I guess the non-South Asian actor Mark Williams, obviously well known from Harry Potter, who plays Brian. You'd worked with him before on a TV show, so we had to convince him that this was a couple of days well spent for him in London doing this.
Yeah, I did a TV show with Mark called Father Brown, in which he plays a priest that solves murders, and we got on. He was kind of talking to me about the Harry Potter films and Shakespeare in Love and all these big movies he's been in. We were just kind of chatting away. And on the last day, he said, Isher, he shook my hand. He said, Isher, if you ever need someone in one of your movies, just give me a call. And in my head, I was just like, you just said that to the wrong person. And I did. 8 months later, I called him up, and he didn't charge his normal rate for us, thankfully, and came in and do it. And he was a great sport. I think he's brilliant in the film.
I mean, I love seeing Ronald Weasley's dad in any way we can. I think it was a lucky thing that he said it to the right person.
And also what you're saying, a lot of these actors are kind of British, Asian kind of acting royalty. Shaheen Khan, who plays the grandmother, who's in Bend It Like Beckham. It's 20 years since then, but it's a very different kind of character and grandmother that she's playing in this film, and she, her and like a lot of the cast were really thrilled to receive parts like this. They don't get parts like this, and so they had a lot of questions of how you guys are going to shoot this in 12 days and how you're going to pull this off. But they were really came on board for the passion of telling the story and playing these characters and doing it.
Something that I hear a lot about with actors in general, but especially for actors of minority backgrounds, is how excited they are to get to play with people that they can feel like their family with. I'd like to know a little bit about how you cultivated an atmosphere on set with the actors. Like, how did they find their way into this?
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, it's probably better for someone else to do, but it's hard to say.
I was going to say, one thing that we had that I guess really helped us was that a lot of these actors, as you said, are British Asian royalty in the sense of their credits. Most of them have worked together. For example, Ace and Layla, they'd done a film I think 15 years ago. Busker had worked with Naveen, Ace had worked with Naveen as well, etc. So they were coming already, with some kind of familiarity. And then I guess Isher, we obviously shot it in a very quick time, but we had 4 days rehearsal we made at the start, and I think Isher created a really amazing atmosphere for them really to be able to feel safe to explore and not to feel like they were going to be rushed in any way, and that this was going to be an artistic process for them at the same time. And I think that was a big part of it.
Yeah, I mean, I love working with script and actors. That's really what I love doing, and it was they trusted me, and we went on it. And I guess our whole approach for doing the film was to foreground performances and to foreground the script and the story. With the camera, we kind of really kept it simple and kind of naturalistic, and we went for a kind of, we like to call it a kind of authored handheld. One of the films that me and cinematographer Adam Singodia watched before this was Another Round, the Thomas Vinterberg film, and it's kind of got there's a scene at the beginning of that film when they're the kind of group of friends all around a dinner table, and it just because of this kind of this authored handheld feel, it puts you on that table, and that's what we wanted to do in this film. Hopefully you forget about the camera, really. I really wanted you to feel like you're just in this house watching this watching this story unfold with this family, with these characters, and really kind of and also that kind of loose, organic kind of feel is great for performance and great for actors. They don't have to hit precise marks, and they can kind of go with it, and it's a bit more kind of fluid, and it's great for them.
Oh, is it time? All right. All right. The time for audience questions. So this is a two-parter. The first question, the style was very unique and reminded me of theater of the absurd. Did that contribute to the writing? And second is, have you considered expanding this to an episodic? From Israel Scott.
So I guess the first question, tonally it is very unique. I think we were just watching it today, being like, bloody hell, I haven't seen something like this. It's, I think, directorially that was the fun challenge. It was kind of like, how do you kind of go between those tones? But for us, for the actors, talking to the actors and how we played it was, we didn't play anything for laughs or for the gag. We tried to just play the truth of it because, whilst it is funny as an outsider to observe this at points, it's not funny for the characters, and so we tried to really keep it as grounded. So I think that results in that kind of restrained kind of performances, particularly from Ace. I think he is so wonderfully reserved in it. And apart from the kind of couple of moments where it kind of all bubbles over. I love the scene between him and Lauren in the Chinese restaurant. I think that's really the heart of the film. So yeah, that was the tonal thing. And what was the other question?
About episodic, I think. Who is it who asked the question? By the way, we've got. Oh, great, cool. Actually, the script started out. It was written originally as a play. And it won. It was kind of a finalist in a prize called the Bruntwood Prize, which is a kind of big play prize in London. And then we saw it as it was and decided it would make a great film. But maybe episodic. That could be the next step, maybe.
So this is a few questions and one note. Could you talk a little bit more about the mythological references of the Mahabharata? And then also, this person wanted to ask, please tell me Josh was at least 18.
Yes, Josh was 18. Bloody hell! We had a great intimacy coordinator, David Thackeray. He's one of the best in the UK. He was actually intimacy coordinator on White Lotus and
Heartstopper as well, and
Heartstopper. So he does massive TV shows, and we got him in between his big jobs, and he came and did this for us. What was the other one? Oh yeah, the mythological stuff. Well, yeah, I think that's actually a theme in the film that's there if you look for it. I mean, that questioning that Naveen's character does when he's talking to his chickens at the beginning. Is this it? You raise yourself to the game of life. Except basically that I wrote that line, and it's actually a Sikh teaching from Guru Nanak, which is accept imminent death and raise yourself to the game of life. So there is actually kind of like philosophy in it, and and Priya, the grandmother, is having these visions. Basically, she is some kind of clairvoyant. If you want to read it like that, So I think that is there, and I think that is a part of the film that's kind of beneath the surface, and there are some kind of bits of that, and also what happens in King's Cross with Lauren's kind of vision at the end. So I think if you want to look at it, we seeded that in there, so that was good for whoever noticed that.
I would just a bit of an expansion on that question for you as the director working with the script from someone else. Were there any elements of it where you added your own voice, or found ways to fuse your voice with the script?
Actually, that was the strand. That probably was the biggest strand. That kind of mythological thing. Because I wrote the monologue, the opening and the ending monologue from Ace, and also the vision in the King's Cross, and also that line, the suburban Mahabharata. So I did put that one in there because I thought that was that. I think that is it, this kind of what is this kind of suburban life that we live, and how does that relate to these epic texts? And I think that that was just something that we were interested in.
I mean, it gives me this feeling of the epic stories in a suburban household, sort of what
Exactly, that was our battlefield was this house in, West London, the suburban house, and I think that, hopefully it has got that emotional range and it has got that depth that is there, despite our limited means and our thing, but the emotional kind of palette is there, I think.
Yes, every diaspora household has epics volumes of stories.
Exactly. And I think that's universal, in the intricacies of family and that's what this is all about.
So this person said, first of all, it is refreshing to see a storyline that is very unconventional for an Asian family, being Punjabi myself. I know that Ace Butty is well known. What about the actress who plays the daughter? Is she known in England?
She is very much like up and coming. Her debut was actually the film before this. It was a film, I think it played here, called Everybody's Talking About Jamie, that was a big musical in the UK and a big musical film, and then this is the next thing she did after that, and she's currently at the Royal Shakespeare Company in Stratford-upon-Avon doing some plays there. So yeah, I mean, I think she's brilliant in this, so I'm sure we'll see a lot more of her over the coming years.
I guess this person said you are in the home of a Broadway with such a great script. Any interest to translate it for the stage?
I mean, it was originally, actually, it was never put on as a play in the end, and so yeah, that would be. I know the writer would be happy. The rights are available, so yeah, any theatre producers out there that I'm sure that we'd love to do that.
Speaking of rights, are there any plans for U.S. distribution?
Good question. I mean, at the moment, we're currently looking for US distribution. We've had some conversations and a lot of kind of positivity about that. But yeah, also keen for US distributors to come and talk to us as well. So anybody knows any, please let us know. It was really encouraging for us, though, feeling the audience tonight and that responded to this in the sense of, something we were worried about in the sense is that it's a very British kind of cast and British script in that sense, but to feel that it did translate really well for an audience over here was amazing for us. So I'm really hopeful for that.
Well, there are definitely some universal themes. I guess I was thinking about the title, "The Effects of Lying," and this time around watching it, I saw that Naveen is at the intersection of all these lies, and his family life is defined by some sort of false truth or untruth with each individual in his life. So I'm just curious, how did these particular lies come to you? Or what was it about them that compelled you and wanted to motivated you to mount a film?
Yeah, that's really interesting. I mean, those lines were James's revelations, but I think that James the writer, sorry, and but I just loved this idea of someone lying because they think it's the right thing to do for their family, and I think that is kind of. I think we all know people who repress things because they think that it ultimately will keep people happy and keep a situation happy. But yeah, and it was just moving to read, to see someone kind of knocked this way and that during the course of this day. And that's what, as I said before, that the heart of the film, I think, is in the Chinese restaurant with his daughter. And she's like, pissed off at him because of, hearing these hurtful things that he says. But he just goes, I don't know who I am, I don't know who I am. And I think that's really moving. And I think that I connected with that, and I thought that other people would as well. And that kind of feeling and that searching for something truer and more authentic, and dealing with the kind of and confronting truth in your life. Yeah.
It was a beautiful place to end. Well, I guess what next for the both of you?
Yeah, John and I have got a lot of a slate of TV and film projects. We've got our next project is a horror feature called Punishment, which is a contemporary adaptation of a Rabindranath Tagore short story. He's a Nobel Prize-winning writer, kind of like the Shakespeare of India, but we're updating it for modern day in London, and yeah, that's our next one. So hopefully coming soon.
Awesome. Are you going to be in this one too?
I think we'll have more money for actors for that one, basically. So maybe not, but let's see.
Well, yes. Well, thank you both for being here tonight.
Thank you very much. Thanks,
Thank you
everyone.
guys for watching.
Thank you.
Thank you.